Yo. Okay. So I have absolutely zero idea how to start a video, but basically, okay. First, a little context. This is Zio'S trip on smogon.com, and I wanted to kind of, document and look over my performance in Smogon Premier League 15. Just, I don't know, maybe a resource to new players. It's just kind of something fun to do. I guess all the images are broken. But I played for the Wi-Fi Wolfpack during the regular season. As I'm recording this, the regular season has just ended, and we sadly did not make playoffs. I ended up going 6-3, which I'm happy with. I feel like losses could have been avoided, and my prep throughout the season could have been a lot better. But 6-3 is not a record to complain about, and I feel that I'm as I am as a player, I'm pretty happy where I was compared to SCL, where I was just making a lot of just objectively bad plays and throwing a lot of one games, which is not fun ever to lose because you just troll for fun. But anyways, that's not the point. We'll get into that more throughout the video. But essentially what this is going to be is, first I'm going to go through the team that I used each week and the approach for, how I got to build that team and what the inspiration behind it was. And then we'll go over the subsequent game where I use that team. I guess that's all. So I'm also, all of these, if you want to steal these teams, I will post them on smogon.com somewhere. I haven't figured out where yet, but they will be somewhere. They will be linked. And also, I'm going to try to leave timestamps, so if you have an interest in a specific team or a specific opponent, just skip ahead. This won't be overly visual. I'll be showing the replays, and that'll be about the only visual aspects, so don't feel like you need to watch this thing in its entirety. Anyways, without wasting too much more time, I want to get into week 1, which was versus Crying. A little background for the approach here, I guess. I played Crying at least once before. I know I played them in OM Circuit Championships 2 years ago, which is obviously not that relatable to SPL regular OU, but I did end up losing, I think, in either 4 or 5 games where I didn't really have much of a chance. I didn't give myself much of a chance. I loaded very poor teams into hyper offense and cheese, which I should have expected from Crying. I got Webs 2 games and lost both those games. I had terrible Webs matchups, and then just one game completely forgoed T-Spikes matchups. I think at that point in time I just wasn't a very good player. So I think good player or good prepper, I should emphasize. For a long time I just kind of loaded whatever I could find. I hadn't been a very proficient builder. And so the stuff I could find is of varying degrees. If you've ever been someone who steals teams from RMT threads or replay threads without really knowing the intent behind them, you'll learn very quickly that you kind of have to know the idea behind a team to properly utilize it and properly pivot around poor matchups. Also, sorry if you can hear the fucking wind. It's really cold in Detroit, and I may be shivering a bit. Anyways, Crying was my week 1 SPL opponent. I really didn't want to lose. I mean, you never want to lose, but I felt relative to the last time I had played them, I improved a lot, and it'd be good to prove that to myself. The ID here, I should say, was not 100% original. This is week 2 or 3 of DLC 2. And I hadn't had the opportunity to get a ton of games. As opposed to DLC 1-minute game where I had been laddering a lot actively. This was pretty fresh, and I'm trying to find it now, but I did just steal a Vertex team. If you don't know Vertex, He's a very good player. He won OST. He won some ribbon. What? SS ribbon. That's crazy. Anyways. Okay, I'm not going to be able to find it right now. But he had a team that was very similar to this. I think it was Deoxys over Hatrin. I want to say it was something over Hatrin. And it was something over Boulder. But the other 4 Mons were for sure the same. I think the same sets. He was, oh yeah, this is... I made this Focus Blast because Sleep is now banned, but when I brought it to SPL, it was Hypnosis because Hypnorai was really dumb. It can just lead in, like, if it hits Hypnosis, something probably is going to die, if not several things. There's not, like, a ton of good counterplay to it. I had a few games where I would lead Sash Darkrai into Slash Darkrai, and then we would both double Hatrin, because that's, like, the only way to kind of bait Hypnosis. It would not, I mean... I don't think Sleep as a whole should have been banned. I think just Darkrai should have been banned. But anyways, this shit was like very stupid. And I felt like it was the best lead in the time. Because it's just, I mean, it just had like such a high chance to steal kills. And even when it doesn't, like, Darkrai hits really fucking hard. It's like stab move sucks. But Ice Beam hits a lot of stuff super effectively. So it hits those Mons pretty hard. Dark Pulse sucks because it's only 80 BP. Which scales really poorly. From there, it's just Screen Serp, which is a pretty simple idea. Screen Serp, like gouging fire with screens up, is really difficult to stop. This is before people had started experimenting with like breaking swipe and morning sunsets. I mean, people have tried, but I didn't really like morning sun with no breaking or no sub or no anything because you just like don't get past the fact that you're really weak to the move Toxic. And I'd rather just cash out damage versus mons like Lando and Zama anyways, instead of attempting to try to beat them, which you really don't. This is a fairly standard Lando. If you're to use this team in modern day, I would definitely make this Earth Power. Earth Power makes it better into gouging, so you can't get breaking swiped, and it also make sure that you don't up T-Spikes with Glim, which is a like big nuisance for this team. This team has no T-Spike absorber, and the entire team is hit by T-Spikes. And there's only 2 mons that prevent Glim. Like, at some point, you will need to get up their T-Spikes. So yeah, I don't know. Make this Earth Power. If it's Earth Power, it's like pretty easy to stop Glim. Or at least like force it until late in the game where it's gonna have to like trade with gouging, which is fine. Anyways, Lando is kind of standard. It like checks gouging. I mean, this Lando set is very standard, but Lando at the time was kind of strange. Anyways, it checks physical attackers, it checks Warren Moon, it checks Rilla, it checks other gouging, it checks Zama. It's a good mon. Not that exceptionally strange. Hat was just, I like Hatrin a lot in this meta. I feel like it steals a lot of games. Because people just like fuck around with Nuzzle and let it get away with too much. And if you like sack Gambit, like if they sack like 40% of their Gambit HP into like attempting to set up on Lando, then Hat looks very good. And like Serp can para Gambit for Hat. Like, I don't know. There's just a lot of ways that like the answers to Hat can either just straight up lose the interaction or can get finessed if they've had to deal with something else. And Hat also denies hazards from really passive mons like Skarm, which are kind of annoying. It's like, for aggressive hazard setters, you have Lando, which can just taunt Glim and whatnot, but you're not going to be as flexible into like Skarmory, which is going to get on Serp for sure, and is going to try to set up spikes. And you don't, 1 layer isn't so bad, but you don't want 3 layers of spikes up, and you don't want like T-Spikes from like random Clodsire up. Those are annoying. The mon I used last, Iron Boulder, I feel like really mixed on this guy now, but when the meta dropped, I was like, oh, this set doesn't lose to anything except for Golden Go, and Golden Go wasn't super common at the time. I don't really know why. Golden Go never like stopped being good. I feel like people's perception of it just got worse for whatever reason. But anyways, Golden Go wasn't very common. And if you don't run into Golden Go, this set is pretty good. but is obviously completely useless if you run into Golden Go. But I wasn't like super concerned about that because with like screens, gouging just like abuses Golden Go to hell and back because it wasn't even running T-Wave at the time. But even if it was, this is ground gouging, which you can set up on T-Wave mons. But yeah, so this team, I guess I don't have a ton to say about relative to some stuff later. I did just like revamp a vert team. I believe the reason I didn't like it is because it was too susceptible to opposing mons setting up rocks and like rocks. Oh, I remember. Okay, so it was a Iron Moth over Iron Boulder, and the idea was double fire, I guess. But I felt that like Lando is the only hazard control attempting to stop rocks with 2 rock weeks in a mon that would really rather keep its stash. Like if you accept that rocks are going up with this team, it's fine, but you completely lose the use of Darkrai Sash, and it makes like gouging life a lot harder. So I don't know. I just preferred that the team had more solid options to deny rocks. It's coming back to me slowly, but I don't know. This team is probably still good if you just change Darkrai to Focus, because Hypnosis is now banned. But anyways, to get into the game. So looking at preview, I didn't like facing Samurott Hisui with this team because if you one, you have to get really lucky with Darkrai to finesse Samurott Hisui. Like you have to sleep 3 turns, and it has to like not, because if it wakes up, it's just gonna kill you or spike, which you don't want. So I don't have like a very easy time of stopping Samurott Hisui from getting up a spike, which is, is not game ending. Everything taking 12% is not that bad, but it's really annoying for something like Lugia, where I would like hat to be at full, if at all possible. So the preview I was kind of annoyed at because Rillaboom plus Heatran. If Heatran is Balloon, it's really like it's gonna be difficult to not have to trade down a bunch of HP for gouging, even with the fact that with like a light screen up, Earth Power is doing fucking nothing. Because this is just all out offensive. And Heatran runs Balloon. It usually runs Balloon. Calc does not like running Balloon, I guess. But this does like nothing. So you should 1v1 if you're healthy enough, because you just Dragon Claw and then you Q it. But it still didn't look super ideal because Lucha is usually Encore, and if I like DD as they go hard Lucha, then I lose the fucking game probably. I mean, I can switch out on Encore, but it's just not a position I'd like to be in. So I don't think gouging looks that good. I think Boulder looks decent, but like also just runs into Lucha, threatening to revenge kill it. But the nicer thing is that Boulder doesn't die to any one hit from +0. I don't think I'm making that up. I'm pretty sure that's true. Yes. Okay. But yeah, no. I think at preview, I'm pretty sure I wanted to do. I don't remember. It's been like fucking 9 weeks since I played this game, man. That's a long time. I think I just wanted to lead Rai and like force a double, because if they lead anything except for Hat, then they're gonna have to switch out on Hypnosis. And if I get Serpent on Hat, that'd be really nice. So I think I just let Darkrai and attempted to double. I lied. I went Lando. Oh, okay. So I went Lando because it denies Tran attempting hazard, and if they go Samurai Hisui, I just U-turn immediately into Serp or Darkrai, and once it has HP chipped, it's a lot easier to deny from getting like multiple spikes, because I just kill it. But anyways, they go this. I think this is totally fine because I just U-turn out immediately. And yeah, I just wanted Serpent early. That had to be like max special attack to do this much, because this is bulky Serp. Not bulky Serp, but it's max HP Serp. To do fucking 50 with Side Shock and neutral hit. Like, Serp is kind of frail, but that's insane. This was like max special attack Hat, which is not very common. I assumed it was like Custap 3 attacks, Healing Wish or some shit. I don't know. Crying brings a lot of jank. And here, I just opt to kill the Hat, because it means that Lando can get rocks later, which is going to be incredibly helpful for Lucha. And if they nuzzle, I didn't want to commit Terra Ground this early, And there's like there's a few so they can either nuzzle me as I go for DD, and then I don't get any kills because they're just gonna go hard Tran, and my like chance of winning that is basically 0 because I'm paralyzed. And once this is dead, I can rocks up. So yeah, they could also have been like Trick Room, or they could have Healing Wish, which I wanted to deny because 2 Zamazentas would have been a pain in the ass. They just go Zama now. Since I've revealed Heat Crash is like 40 BP into Zama. Fuck it. Oh, okay, no, I won't be using nickname. I should probably log in. Anyways. Yeah, it's very heavy. Heat crashes. I 40 or 60 BP. I don't remember exactly right now. Anyways, Zama just lets in Lando. I don't think I made it EP yet. I'm pretty sure it's EQ in this replay. Yeah, because I would have just spammed EQ, or I mean EP on this. This is another reason to run EP on Lando. At -1, heavy slam through reflect does like 20. I'm not even gonna bother. It does nothing. So they're just forced to switch out, and they didn't get much damage on Lando, which is nice. I don't know why they ID'd again instead of just be pressing. Although it would have done much. It would have done like 30. I just nuzzle because it covers everything. If they stay in with Zama, it's parried for Boulder. This gets parried. I just try to abuse reflect to set up here. It's fucking AV Samurai on offense. I get pretty lucky here with 2 paras because they should have gotten 3 spikes up. I don't think it mattered too much. HP on anything doesn't really end up being that important. Hey, go back here. I have to swap there because if it's CB Rillaboom, then I just lose the hat. They reveal SD, which I don't think was wise this early because now I know I can keep hat in on it. I don't bother predicting the Tran because at this point gouging fire isn't useful. And I just trade it down. That's fine. This just because if I can just trade this down to get in position to let in Darkrai, Zama just lets in Lando again, which they don't want to do because -1 Zama, especially if it's not heavy slam, is super fodder for hat and even for Boulder. And Boulder can be kind of irritating because +0 Lucha does not revenge kill it, and if I tear on Rillaboom, I can just kill it. So anyways, I wanted this Darkrai position, and they shouldn't go Zama here, which I don't remember if they do. They don't. And I just go for Hail Mary Hypno. If I hit Hypno, I like win the game instantly, but I don't hit Hypno, so I have to actually play the game. I could have Ice Beam there, but if it was SD, it was bulky and probably lived. But it would have died to Helmet, which would have made this easier. I probably should have just Ice Beamed there. I remember that being the main issue after the game. Because if it's just max HP, it doesn't. Yeah, it didn't die, but it did die to Helmet after, which would have been good. And then I wouldn't have had to like fuck around with accuracy, which I do have to do now. I preserve Darkrai to like toss in something because sacks at this point are useful. I don't want to give hat HP or Boulder HP if unnecessary. And I'm gonna have to click U-turn to actually damage Rillaboom, so I need a toss. I need a sack for this. I need a sack for Rillaboom because I haven't Ice Beamed it, which was a mistake. I taunt to deny SD. That's fine because if they SD as a U-turn, it's at +1 the next time, and I think I just lose because it's too healthy. This lets it. Now that it's taunted, it can't like roar me or it can't try to ID in my face. So it's just forced out, or it's not forced out because it's like, yeah, no, if I Zen Headbutt into Lucha, it died. So I forced a kill, which I'm happy with at this point. I once again save fodder because I don't ever want to be in a position where I have to hard into hat on either Rilla or Lucha and take damage and lose. And Rilla is going to be an issue now that I haven't chipped it with Ice Beam or that it's not sleeping. And from here, it's fairly standard. I get damage on this with Helmet plus U-turn, and then sack Darkrai to I sack Darkrai to stall another turn of terrain, so it makes Hat's life easier. I believe I Nuzzle or Gleam here, because I know they're going to attack this turn. So it's better for me to Draining Kiss. The crit I don't think mattered, because from this position, Terrain is down. And so I'm just going to keep spamming. I'm just going to keep spamming Draining Kiss. If they ever attempt to go to Lucha, it dies. And then I can 1v1 a Rillaboom at +0. It doesn't change the fate. And so even if I end up losing this Hatchrin interaction to Rillaboom, which I don't think I did, even without the crit, Boulder just comes in and clicks Cleave twice. Or I mean clicks Zen twice. And there's no like winning sequence. If Rillaboom goes hard Lucha, Lucha dies. If Rillaboom stays in, then it dies and Terrain is off. So this is like I think a pretty good matchup for me. I think I would have been fine if 3 layers of spikes went up, because I also missed a Hypno. If Hypno had hit, I would have just won on the spot. Which, yeah, I don't know. Shout out to Hypnosis Darkrai. That shit is stupid. This doesn't even get its seed. So aggro does nothing. And yeah, it just dies to Gleam. I mean, Draining Kiss. So there was no out there in that position. So yeah, no, I advanced to 1-0. I mean, yeah, this is a stolen team. It got a good matchup. Well played to me. I guess the lesson is preserve stacks, so you don't have to like give up HP on valuable stuff more than often. And also Boulder was like nice insurance that even if I didn't get the best odds in the hat sequence, I would have been fine. So yeah, don't toss material when you don't need to in offense matchups. I guess that's the lesson of the day. Next week I was playing Zern, who I teamed with in the previous SCL. I don't know what edition. I think it was 4 or something. Anyways, give me a sec. Okay. Anyways, I was just checking recording. I'll try to speed up some of these. Anyways, week 2 I was playing Zern. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. Whatever. ZRN. I teamed with him in SEL. He played doubles. He did really well in doubles. I don't remember. It was like either undefeated or 8-1. I don't remember. But he's a good player, and he's played OU in other tournaments like World Cup. I don't think he had played SVOU up to this point. I don't remember. I didn't check, if I'm being honest. But, I don't know. I knew this would be difficult, and I didn't really know what he would bring, because it's week 2 of the tournament, and there's not a real scout. Week 1, he loaded some bullshit. I really, like, the general gist was just that Enamorous can Healing Wish up for Basculegion or Archelodon, and I think he just ends up losing the game because Rain doesn't beat Slowking Galar because it sucks. Yes, that is what ended up happening. Anyways, he loaded some nonsense game 1, and week 1, and I knew he wasn't like a huge fan of the tier, so he would probably continue to load nonsense. So the main goal was to have something good into offense that isn't like too useless into something standard. So I really wanted to load like a bulky offense with stuff like Red Card Tinglu, because that denies Booster Mons, it denies Archelodon, which was like really insanely broken. I should state that Archelodon was still allowed in the tier. I didn't think he would rain twice, especially after he got like a pretty shit matchup week 1 with it. I mean, it rains. Quick aside, Rain is not good. G-King and Gambit are very common mons, and even Paul is not like ideal to come into. These are very common mons, and you need to sacrifice your entire time to deal with them, and then you like lose to something else in the back. It's just, anyways. I didn't want to be completely useless in terrain, and Red Card Tinglu's good in terrain. D-Knight's good in terrain. Raging Bolt's very good in terrain. Raging Bolt's very good as a mon. That shit is stupid. But I didn't have a super clear idea of direction, I guess. So I was just like laddering with some stuff I'd built in the week 1 team, and I ran into some dude on ladder who had a like a Specs Goldango team, and I thought Specs Goldango was like kind of a cool solution to the offense problem, because it's something that's very good in even like balance matchups. Because if you look at this balance team, for example, Gambit is the only ghost resist, and Trick and Gambit is so good. It doesn't appreciate taking Specs Make It Rains. It doesn't take a ton. It takes like 30 or something, but it doesn't come in infinitely, essentially. And meanwhile, Gambit gets like Goldango gets like a lot of opportunities to come in against balance. Like it gets in versus Slowking mainly, or it gets in on Zama, CC. And like if Gambit ever gets chipped or gets burnt by Volk or has to trade down with Tusk, like it makes Goldango very good. And it's also just like is pretty much impossible for most offense to swap into Specs Goldango. It doesn't because it's either Gambit, which is taking hazards, or Gambit, which is not very bulky. Like if it's 0 bulk, it fucking dies to 2 Make It Rains, or like. So that's basically a forced trade after one round of rocks, which is, good. So, no, I wanted to use Specs Goldango. I ran into some guy running it up on ladder, and he did not give me his team. I took his team. But I adjusted a lot of it. But it was kind of this general idea of Specs Goldango versus, like, a lot of mons that are strong into offense. FizzDev Volk is like such a pain in the ass for offense, because it denies like D-Knight and Weave and Zama without Stone Edge, which Stone Edge on like HO Zama is pretty uncommon. And like not only does it deny these mons from doing anything, it also sets up in their face, which is really dangerous. The team I stole the guy from had something over Volcarona. I don't remember. I decided that it was bad and put this Volcarona set, which is very good. I probably should have used it throughout the tour more, but anyways. Tinglu, not much to say. With red card, it forces out any booster threat once, which is incredibly important. And if you like pull in something with the red card that also has booster or doesn't want to come in, you can either like take 50 on it with Ruination or also switch it out with Whirlwind. This set's really good. It's kind of difficult to justify because, take Raging Bolt, for example. Yeah, you swap out Raging Bolt with red card and it doesn't have its booster anymore. But if you just like let in a Primarina with your red card, it's not good. So this set is like, it's really greedy, but it can be pretty good under the right circumstances. I think this team like doesn't care about Tinglu's longevity enough to where this is ever an issue. Like if you pull in something that you don't want to, then you just bin it and that's fine. D9, I wanted to use this set because there was a lot of balance running around that was like super reliant on Wisp for beating Gambit plus D-Knight, and against those mons you just like Terra and kill them. Like I think probably the most relevant example is and the reason is Dragonclaw is Palt, which is the most common mon in the tier. And so if you DD once as they go hard Palt, because there's like no D-Knight spreads that are actually like both quicker than Palt and like to kill it. Like Ice Spinner doesn't kill Palt. It just is naturally bulky. But if they go hard Palt and then you Terra Fire as they Wisp and then you get your second DD, you just kill them with Claw and you probably win the game. And I think E-Killer would have been better in the particular game that we're gonna see, but I did like this set, and I thought this set made sense for the team. Because Palt is a pain in the ass. Because Tinglu will basically always be getting traded down very early. And after that, Palt just kind of has a field day. But Palt always has a field day because that mon is really broken. Anyways, great Tusk. Not much to say here. I wanted removal. I don't like teams that just opt to not have removal and are also like heavily reliant on items. Like I don't care that much if rocks go up, but like I don't have a T-Spike immune or absorber, and so if I ever click a physical move and Goldango gets in, I fucking lose if I don't have a Tusk. Please run removal if you're running offense. Anyways, Raging Bolt, Same idea. Not same. Well, okay. Like, same idea as the rest of the team where it's a mon that's really good into offense. Thunderclap is electric sucker punch, which is really funny. Really funny and really dumb. This mon should not be in the tier either. But anyways, one of its only relevant weaknesses is dragon, so you can just flip that with fairy and like kill Paul or kill Gambit, kill Dragonite. Anything that wants to hit you super effectively, you can trade down for, which against offense is very nice. It's not like a very sustainable win con because there's just like enough that will eventually beat it down. It doesn't have any healing. It doesn't have an item, basically. It's weak to ground. And even after Terra, it doesn't like taking Earthquake. And since it's locked to Thunderclap for like being faster than anything, it will just get revenge killed by a ground type eventually. But Raging Bolt is like very irritating to take down and trades for a few mons before going down, especially in offense matchup. But anyways, this was like the plan, was to run into some offense or some cheese and have like really strong tool into it. And we'll see how that went. So looking at preview, there's like a few good things about this matchup. Very good things about this matchup was like the entire. I was expecting offense. I didn't end up running into offense. First off, Weavile and Scizor are just gonna be fucking useless, which is like why I like this Volk set. They're just either gonna get burnt or just get like never make progress against Volk, because I don't think Zern is gonna be able to keep rocks up against Tusk. Tusk can come in at any point. It's quicker than the entire team with the booster. It gets in on Raging Bolt. It gets on every physical attacker gets in on, because it like bulks up in their face and just spins. So I'm not concerned about like keeping rocks off for Volk that gets knocked by Weave, because it will get knocked by Weave. Lando is like a bit of a nuisance for this team because I don't have anything that's faster than it and kills it and doesn't like, and wants to take an EP. So I end up just opting to go Tinglu into it, so I can just immediately Ruinate. And then even when they U-turn, it's going to get U-turned into, when they U-turn, Red Card is going to call them into something random, and then something random is going to take 50. And if that something random is Raging Bolt or Roaring Moon, I probably just win instantly. Because those are going to be like the two like biggest chances he has this game. On top of Prim. Prim is an issue. Prim was not really like an established member of the metagame at this point, so I kind of just did not at all prep for it. You can see the entirety of my team is like weak to it, or Goldango, which is not gonna, be the last battalion of defense against Prim. Luckily, Prim is like pretty. If it's sub CM Prim, I probably just lose this game, but it's usually like CM 2 attacks, Encore, or some nonsense to try and break. And so I'm not that concerned about trading down for it. Even like Tinglu can stay in and try to kill it, which we will see later. And not to spoil anything, but so yeah, starting preview, I just lead Tinglu into Lando, and they have to taunt here so I don't get rocks up. So I take my free. I attempt to take my free Ruination. Okay, now I take my free Ruination. If it got into 25, that would have been really good for Tusk, but it doesn't really matter. Weavile getting call-in is kind of annoying. If it was literally anything else, I think I had like a very good chance of winning the game instantly. Prim taking half is very good. I think the only other call-in that would have been bad was Scizor. But now I have to go Volk on this. Luckily, they don't knock for some reason. I'm not entirely sure why. Tinglu staying in is not really a play. I kind of still need it for Raging Bolt, and I would still like to get rocks up at some point. So I think they definitely should have knocked there. But at this point, they're definitely not going to stay in Volk and knock off Volk as it QDs. Because if you look at their team and you don't know what the Volk set is yet, and it's like Giga Drain or something, then Prim's not even going to be able to stop it, which is really bad. So I double here, not fully knowing what they're going to go into. And even if they knock Volk, then this is fine, because Tusk is just going to take the knock and not care. I wanted to kind of double Goldango on Prim, but the risk of them knocking is just too high, and I think they didn't. Yeah, they just ended up knocking. I get my rock, or I get my spin off, and then this lets him trim. I could have doubled again, but I didn't know if they just wanted HP on Tusk. Specs Goldingo ended up getting dropped, which is a bit annoying. Because it's gonna for sure let Prim back in, and Prim would have taken more. And let me make sure I'm not, because someone told me I was lying about this, but I'm pretty sure I'm not. Give me un momento. And they were at 89. Okay, so I had like a non-zero chance to put them into cut-step range if I was at only -1 instead of -2, because I have to make it rain and kill weave. But now I'm at -2, and I leave them at a cut-step range, which I would have. So I would have died to Torrent Hydro and then still had to count. So, yeah, okay, I'll just let the sequence play out first. But so I get dropped and it puts itself into Torrent Hydro range. I was not thinking about that, and sacked Great Tusk, which was definitely bad. I wanted that guy. Not that much. I didn't want that guy that much. This turn 2, I could have Dragon Pulse, but it didn't feel super necessary. Because I didn't really care if this took damage. Here I T-Bolt because I didn't know why they were going Raging Bolt if they weren't going to Terra. But in retrospect, if they Terra on Bolt, I just go Tinglu after and like abuse the fact that they no longer have Terra. So this was also bad. This was just like not thinking ahead. If they did Terra on the Depulse, it was fine, and like T-Bolt would not have mattered because it would have been in like the same I have to go Tinglu position. So this was bad. Yeah, and I die. I was told after the game that the logic was that Raging Bolt is usually not running a ton of speed, and they thought they were like a lot of speed, but I was a lot of speed, so I outsped. Yeah, just I don't know. Not a good decision by me. At this point, I go Tinglu and claim a free EQ, I believe. Oh no, I rocks here because I'm greedy as fuck. This was a roll. I'll say in the chat, and they're not happy about the dodge, but it was a roll, so I don't feel bad. If you hit Hydro Plump plus get a 50% roll, then I don't know what to tell you. Anyways, I get to keep Tinglu HP, which is nice for Roaring Moon, for sure. I'm not denying it's nice, but this D-Knight is Claw, and so usually you have zero reason to Terra against D-Knight because they're mostly Ice Spinner. So like turning from a Dragon to a Flying type doesn't make you any less weak to Ice Spinner. So I'm pretty sure I would have been able to cheese the kill with Dragon Claw either way. But it does for sure like make this game a lot easier. There's no like dubiousness from this point. This Volk set will just win. It's slower than Roaring Moon at -1, which I should have EV'd, but I did not. If you're using this team, probably EV this better than I do. They DD here, I think on Buzz. I think I'm fine with Terra Steel here either way. EQ is not super common. It's usually Taunt or Brick Break. But they were EQ. But whatever, I don't die because Max Fizz Default is fucking good. But now since Tinglu's alive, I have no reason to make any plays. I just go Tinglu and force this out. But if this was... So if this got hit and then lived the roll, I would have just sacked it and then went D-Knight and been fine. This D-Knight set can't lose from this position against Burnt Roaring Moon because it just kills Scizor. It's Fizz-Def enough to take nothing from Bullet Punch. And it should kill Volt. At like minimum it kills 2 Mons, and if it kills 2 Mons then I win with Volk anyways. I think this was fine. Calling this, it dies. I think I make another fuck up here. Yeah, I just Claw instead of DD. Don't ask me what I was thinking. Probably not much. I'd probably already moved on mentally, like acknowledging that I won this game after the pump dodge for sure. So yeah, no, this dude dies. I don't know why I did a DD. Don't ask me. But anyways, Volk goes fucking hero mode because it's Volcarona. I have to Morning Sun a few times, so I'm not in Scizor BP range. I don't. Yeah, no. Okay, and this just dies. So this was not very clean at all. But I don't know. I had a really good matchup that I was happy with. Like, I was happy that like this team worked. They did bring cheese, and it did have like weak matchup into Volk. I didn't play this the best. I mostly just coasted, which happens sometimes. Sometimes you don't need to play well. And okay, so moving on to week 3. Let me check how long this has been going. Okay, so week 3 against Izia. I don't know if that's how you say it, if I'm being honest. We had like been testing and prepping a little bit for SCL and this tour. Not yet. But I know Izia is a good player who plays like a number of gens. But I didn't really know what he was gonna load like at all because we had prep together a lot. But I know that he like caters to his opponent's usage a lot, and I don't know what someone like thinks my usage is because week 1 I loaded HO, and then week 2 I loaded something more balanced, and SCL was like mostly the same where I'd like flip-flop between bulky offense and HO. I don't know how you like fish that, so I think there's just like mainly one thing I wanted to do this week, which was load this mon. Unaware Cosmic Power Clefable. This set is really fun. It like beats offense on its own on paper because fairy types are very easy to get against offense. You get in versus like Roaring Moon, for example, and then just store Cosmic Power and like Moonlight in its face, and it can't set up on you. Nothing can set up on you because of Unaware. And offense doesn't have like tools like Toxic or a ton of phasing to stop you when you get going. Like the general idea of this set is that once you like get through Garganackle and Paul and Skarm, which are all also kind of pains in the ass for offense, it's going to be really difficult to deal with this mon last. So that was basically the entire idea behind this team. I like this Goldango set. I think the speed is so you outpace Dragapult when it's parried. Is that how math works? I don't think so. No, that's how math works. Anyways, because Pokemon runs down. So yeah, no. I like this Goldango set. It was another set that's like really good to offense, but also not useless into balance because balance doesn't have normals. This tier doesn't have normals. It's only Blissey, I believe. Blissey and Ursaluna, which is not super, which is 1 not OU and 2 not very common. Yeah. So, you know, I was fine like running the risk that I ran into a normal type because this team has ways to deal with it. So I don't know. I'm not going to talk much more about this team. This team is very good, by the way. Not by my own blessing, but other people have used it in like OST and ladder and such, and told me it's good. So I don't know. I just like this team a lot, and it had Cosmic Power Clef, which I really wanted to use. I didn't really know what I was going to face, and like week 1 he loaded Sun, like Blaziken Sun. I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna face. And yeah, okay, opening the game, it's Hydrapple stall. Which, to briefly explain what the point of Hydrapple stall is. Hydrapple has Sticky Hold, and after it tears into Ice type, it's good into Meowscarada and Weavile, which have good. It has good natural physical bulk, and those are like the most common knockoff mons for balance. I think the team is bad. I'm just gonna say like full front ahead of this game. I think this team is not good. I think this team is way too common to like just common knockoff mons, and can like lose to Gliss on preview, lose to some Goldango on preview, because Claude isn't like super consistent, especially if they're Psyshock, or just get lucky with crits and drops. But yeah, here this team is also publicly available, which is my assumption was that he changed the sets, because running a team where your opponent knows all 6 of your sets is like such an insane disadvantage. But he just in the end was the sets. He didn't change anything. I think he changed the order. Yeah, he changed the order. And so I have to play around like Blissey at first, not knowing that it's mono S-Toss, so it's walled by the ghosts. But I do like learn that pretty quickly. The early game is like pretty mundane. I let him set up spikes because my entire team is immune to spikes except for Garg, and I don't think I'm going to be able to consistently like stop spikes. And it's not like he does enough damage to threaten Garg taking spikes, so I don't care. And so I just trade spikes. Garganacl is another thing that's like kind of a pain in the ass for stall, because you don't, especially stall without Magic Guard Clef, because nothing actually like likes taking Salt Cure. Gliscor's toxic or poison heal is canceled out by Salt Cure damage, so it can only come in a certain amount of times. I went here to try to get Clef burned, because actually I don't remember why I did that. Oh yeah, no, because if Clef gets burned, then I don't have to Terra on Claude, and I can just like stay in on Poison Stings, and like get enough store power to actually do enough damage to it. But I also didn't need Clef. I didn't need Clef to win this game, so I was fine risking burn on it. I was pretty sure that if I got burnt early, I would have been good, because I wouldn't have had to blow in Terra. I'm saying a lot of words. I would not have had to blow in Terra if I got burnt. This early game is mundane. I reveal that Goldango is the set which is walled by Blissey. I get in Great Tusk on Claude because it's fucking Bulldoze Poison Sting, so it doesn't actually consistently punish Tusk. I spinner here because I wanted to catch Hydrapple. This ended up being bad, but I ended up just risking the Scald Burn, which I think was fine. I think to win this game, I would have had to just get unlucky versus Claude and Mola 30%. Because Mola getting knocked is like so good for... I once again try to let Clef get burnt, it just doesn't. But it doesn't really matter. Now I have to switch out because it's not burnt. How the rest of this game is based, I'm going to start speeding up soon here. Is Mola's now knocked, so it doesn't like serve the previous purpose it does, which means Skarmory can start coming in and spamming ID, and Mola's not going to be able to comment on that forever, and then so it's going to force in Dozo, and Dozo lets Palt in, and Palt wins the fucking game, because this team doesn't have a real way of threatening it. Once Claude gets burnt, it's just going to be on a timer in terms of recovers. With only 8 recovers, it doesn't beat Palt long term. In this Blissey set, because it's only Seismic Toss, is completely walled by Palt. And so I can just U-turn forever with Goldango and Palt. And I don't really care. Oh, okay. So this game gets made a lot easier. I eventually force in Gliss. I don't remember the exact sequence leading up to this. But yeah, so this is what I'm talking about earlier. Since Mola's boots are knocked, it's going to allow Palt to get in on Dozo a lot easier. It's going to let in Tusk more because I get to U-turn more. And here, I get one of the turns right. I spin her on Gliss. They blow Terra, which lets them win this interaction, but they now take spikes, and they're now weak to Hex. So this Gliscor is pretty much useless. I just spam knock. I should have started headlonging after I first knocked it, but unfortunately I can't do math. And the Tusk dies, which is fine. I don't care. Because because Pult still wins. Just clicking buttons on Blissey to make it waste soft boiled, because literally nothing at this point in the game comes in on it. Claude still hasn't been burnt. That happens here. Claude gets burnt. More ghosts action. I remember thinking while building this team that I was like pretty confident to anything that was not stall, because Blissey is really annoying for like, it makes Golden go useless. But in retrospect, like, I don't even need to use Stored Power Clef, and Stored Power Clef is like pretty unstoppable for this team, because Blissey can't fucking like Calm Mind on it, Claude can't Amnesia on it, Dozo dies to 2 sword powers. Yeah, the rest of this game is just like trying to expedite things with Terra, Garg. Not much to say. Paul ends up winning on its own in the end, because this mon's really good and stall is not good. Anyways, on to the next week. Week 4, I was playing one of the other 3-0 players in the division. If you've been tier, whatever. If you've been keeping track, I'm 3-0 up to this point. And so I'm up against one of the other 3-0 players. So somebody will be going 4-0 and somebody will be losing the undefeated streak. Kumiko or TDK, I think. I don't know. They're before my time, man. I joined the site in like late 2019. They like led UU or some shit. I think they're I mean, I know they're a good player because I watch their games, but I guess I just don't know like specific accomplishments. Anyway, this is all to say that I didn't have like a super clear vision of what I wanted to load against them. Week 1 they loaded Moltres Rain, which I think Stretch built. Maybe they built it. I don't know. I know that it was like being gassed up to me. I don't like Rain, but I don't know. Week 1 they rained because Archelon was broken. Week 2 they loaded some like some Mola stuff. Mola is interesting. Wish passing in this tier is really good. Like, it's gonna let Garg, on special mons forever, because you just wish and then hard Garg, and now it gets a wish back up, so it doesn't even need to heal. It's good for Tran. So I like this team. This game is fucking wacky. Not reviewing other games, but this game is wacky, and if you want to watch it, go watch it. It's fun. But so the point I'm getting at here is that they kind of, and here's more Mola Luna action, is they loaded like solid teams with like very strong breaking potential, or just like the ability to play the long game with Mola, and like even the Rain, which is like, very overtly offensive, has like random fucking defensive Moltres. Like, I didn't expect to just like breeze into a easy offense matchup as I had thus far. I wanted to load something powerful, and I wanted to abuse the fact that they liked Mola and that the teams were generally kind of slow outside of like 1 or 2 speed control options. So I just like randomly at like 4 a.m. had this epic idea of like remaking old Ores team with Scarf Crest and Scarf Crest Lunar Dance plus like a bunch of mons that really like to round 2. I originally had Suicune on this team before I decided Suicune is just fucking useless. I replaced Suicune with Water Pod, which is really like, I've used the word broken for various mons throughout this video, but this mon is just genuinely broken. This mon should just genuinely not be in the tier. Like this moveset without any variance whatsoever does not get stopped by anything like OU viable. I guess SERP, but SERP is, I don't know, if you're running defensive SERP, it's a massive concession. Anyways, Like a really common way of dealing with Ogerpon is just like trading it for a status. Like if you have a T-Wave Clef in on Ogerpon, you can trade your T-Wave Clef for Ogerpon, so you don't have to deal with it for the rest of the game because it's now parried. Or like Pult can just burn it, and now you don't have a Dragon Pult anymore, but you're playing burnt Ogerpon, which is a lot more manageable than unburnt Ogerpon. But Lunar Dance plus Ogerpon like puts a stop to that idea. You get 2 Ogerpons, and the second, if the first one did not win, the second one probably will. Yeah, and the other guy I wanted to abuse, this mod didn't get banned the week before, and Kieran was really strong. This set is really good. Terra Steel lets you just sit on G King unless they're flame, which isn't super common, and it doesn't. I don't know. Most G King teams lose to Ogerpon anyway, so I wasn't super concerned about like flame G King. This is another mon where the way you stop it is you just like stay in and like sacrifice your mon for 80% of its HP, or you go Pult and then you Wisp it, and then either like trade your Terra or just trade your Dragapult so it's burnt. So it's like it's still a threat, but since it's not getting lefties anymore, like it's gonna not like gain HP through subs, which is, it makes it a lot easier to deal with. But once again, just an idea that isn't does not matter against 2 Kyurms. Garg was another mon that I appreciated having 2 of, because once again it's another mon that you stop by throwing 80% like of its HP down, but that doesn't matter if it just like gets fucking healed the full. I also this core as is not super reliable against Pult, because you're basically reliant on them tossing it into one of Ogerpon, then Kyurem, and still being able to Lunar Dance one of them. So Garg was nice because it's the only one that beats Dragon Ball. This is once again just like standard Tusk. You want to keep off for offense. And the issue I was having with this team was that it's very good at breaking. It's very oriented towards breaking. And so if they load something like this, they're just gonna get blown out of the water immediately. But I didn't want to completely bank on that, because if they do just decide to load offense, which is they loaded Rain week 1, there's no reason they wouldn't just decide to load offense. I ended up putting Boots Weavile last, which is like pretty much sweeps offense on its own. It just has such a good speed tier and such good typing for all of like the offensive mons in this tier. Like look at the team, the outside of Weavile, and like look at how much it appreciates switching into Weavile. It does not switch into Weavile. This mod has like a little less efficacy into balance structures with like Skarm, but not really. Like if you think about how easy it is to force damage on Skarm or like trick it with Cress, like I think that's fine. I don't know. This mod is very good. Weavile is very good. And it helps short up the bad offense matchup, which was what I was mainly concerned about. So heading into the game, they loaded fucking Quaquaval, which first off, Quaquaval into Weavile is insane, man. I hadn't loaded a Weavile up until this point, like come on, bruh. But luckily for me, it's a fucking Quaquaval. I'm in actuality not that concerned about it, but they did end up loading like a very slow G King team with like Ursaluna breaking, like they did last week, which was the matchup I was hoping for. I think I end up just deciding to league Kyurem because the entire team is slower than it, right? Yes. The entire team is slower than Kyurem. I don't know what the Quav set is at this point. Some sets just died of freeze dry, but I didn't want to risk that and end up dying to CC. I'm just going for Trick, because if I can trick Tran or Slowking is really good. But they like make a smart call and go Rilla. Because if this was like CM and then they go like Slowking on CM, that's bad. So I understand why they did Rilla. But this is bad for me now because now I'm like stuck with a fucking AV Crest. But I decided that like since it's AV Crest, I don't want it anyways. Just keep it in to click Ice Beam so I know what's coming in, because they have no reason to not U-turn now that they're choice locked. Because now that Rillaboom is choice blocked, they end up going Tran. I anticipated rocks. I knew that there was no chance that they magma'd. And I didn't. I think even if they magma'd, I don't care. Oh, something to note is now that Crest has an AV, I'm not going to be able to, give me un momento. Yeah, this, yes. Okay, I'm not going to be able to bring something back with Crest at this point, which is, fine. I don't really need to like burn through something that's status, because their entire team is so slow that like one of Water Pond or Kyurem will win. They end up doubling Ursaluna. If I'm 100% honest, I mean I assume it was on Garg, but that seems like pretty ambitious. But anyways, since they do that, I just safely sub, because I don't know exactly what's coming in. And if they go Slow King, then I would rather have a sub up and then just like blindly attack into it. I think that damage had to be AV Quav. I'm like 90% sure. Anyways, it's like fucking AV Quaquaval, now it's dead. So Weavile looks good. All I need to do is force Tran, chip on Tran. Here, okay, so it's clearly low kick. It's clearly low kick Rillaboom because they're going Rillaboom on Kyurem. But I'm thinking at this point, why do I fucking care? Because raw low kick doesn't kill me. Going hard crest is bad because I literally don't switch into low kick after. If Kyurem like somehow dies to low kick, which I'm thinking in my head, there's 0 chance this thing dies to low kick because it's not gonna be like Terra Fight, so whatever, who cares? I'm like fine taking the damage for taking the Rillaboom because the Rillaboom is the only thing standing in the way of Ogerpon at this point. But so they are they're terrifying low kick. So I die. But then I realize at this point in time the entire team is physical attackers or weak to ground, and they just blew their Terra. So Great Tusk time. Great Tusk gets 2 bulk ups, sends G-King to hell. I Ice Spinner on Heatran once, which was bad because I risked a burn that I didn't need to. I go Headlong Rush, and then I bulk up because I don't need to risk a burn more than necessary. Kill Heatran. This fucking dies. I trolled here by not tearing immediately and just killing this with Headlong. But I thought if they like... This, okay, so bear with me. This makes no sense. But, +3 Headlong always kills this. I thought if I tear it and then they low kick, I like takes too much damage, which is just doesn't make any sense because before they low kick, they die to Headlong Rush. So yeah, I don't know. I think before you act is the lesson of that. I should have just teared there. I teared now. This just fucking dies to Ice Spinner, by the way, which is insane. Yeah, I don't know. Good job, Great Tusk. I feel like this is once again like very good matchup. I knew what they liked bringing and fished it. And this team is also good. This team carries even bad players in OST like Kev plays. So the week 5 opponent was Separation. Separation was, I think, 3-1 at this point in the tour. I'm pretty sure that's right. And they'd been loading, like, as with like most of my opponents, kind of just whatever. Like, this is an offense with random Sinistra. This is random Pex balance. This is offense, Water Pond offense with the Healing Wish idea, which was very good. And this is like once again like Glim offense. So they like to get a mix of Glim offense and balance. So I end up bringing. I will like give a preface. I don't have much to say about this game or the week after. I'd gotten busy and I just ran out of time to build the team. So I built Sun, which is like an edited version of the common Sun that I put AV Prim over something because regular Sun is really weak to Dragapult and not Weavile. Fuck, what is it? It's something. It's some special attacker that sends you to hell. I don't remember. I don't like Sun. I just ran out of time. This team is like fine as far as Sun goes, but Sun like loses to Slowking Galar and like loses to opposing weather really bad. And so I don't like it, and I don't like timed win cons, but I just couldn't think of anything for the week. And then like exactly why I don't like Sun happened. Here we go. I load into Sand, and I like this is lost on preview. I don't like blaming matchup because there's usually like stuff to be done. But this is like the reason you don't run Sun. Like this is pretty much impossible. Mola's gonna be able to pivot on the two main breakers. Raging Bolt is just fucking useless because it's not gonna be able to kill Drill at all. T-Tar is always gonna be able to reset Sun. I'm never gonna have Sun up this entire like. There's no reason for them to let me have Sun. Dirge is probably gonna sweep me. It denies gouging fire from doing much. If it's Terra Water, it's even worse. I led Prim, like, attempting to catch T-Tar or Paul. They just Scarm, which is fine. I could have attacked into it, but I, like, was, Psychic Noise, Liquid Voice, which doesn't do a ton. And, like, Scarm HP isn't valuable to me. I think I just wanted to deny spikes. Or no, I get rocks. Okay, that's fine. But, like, this is where we start running into issues. Now my Sun is gone. I have to go Tusk, which has to deal with hazards, which is not going to be able to. Scarm is just going to be able to set up on it forever. I think I correctly Draco here and kill the Mola. In their red card, so I like get to keep my Wake, which is good. And this is a bad call-in because it lets in Drill, and now I have to like trade down item for it so I can get rid of Drill's Balloon. But it's not like a good trade for me. I just have to sack Prim because I don't have an EQ resist, and the Tusk is not healthy enough to take 2 EQs. I trade down Wake HP because if I crit, I'm probably fine. Because if I can get Sun up, then gouging looks fine. I mean, not really, because it can't lock itself into a move that like kills Scarm plus kills gouging. IEQ, they like make the good Pult double. I mean, Pult mid ground. I have to swap. Back into gouging to attempt to get Sun. They just Draco again in an attempt to kill Torkoal. This has Sun now, but it doesn't matter because they just go Skelly Dirge. I could have EQ'd on that turn, but I don't think it would have mattered. They just go Scarm. And it still heals after, and I still lose the Drill because at this point Torg is not healthy enough. And they'll eventually rock, and I'll eventually lose. Is like, I can put this on hyper fast. I don't know, I like having things to talk about in games, and I don't think it's productive to like blame matchup, but I think this is like pretty objectively like not playable. I had some early inaccuracy where I possibly could have whoa, it's not letting me skip turns for some reason. Okay. There's like an early inaccuracy where like this I could have kept Wake because at this point they don't have a Hydro switch in, but like I don't know, I go Tusk, I force it out, and then I double back to Wake and I can start spamming Steam. But I still think I like lose to Water Dirge. Like I don't think it saves me, and I still have to make the call every time they try to go to Pult. Like it would have been slightly better. Like don't get me wrong, it would have been better position, but T-Tar like is still going to be able to trade with me at any point because now it's not healthy. Or I mean now it's healthy because it isn't taking the damage. Yeah, I don't know. Don't load weather, which is a lesson I didn't learn because next week I loaded Sand. I think this is the team I just lost to with like 1 mana variance, which was one. I was just lazy plus busy, which is an amazing combination. Yeah, no, it's just their team, but I think I dropped Mola. Yeah, I dropped Mola for Reuniclus because I didn't like something. I think it was like the Slowking Galar matchup was fucking annoying. Oh, it's Calm Mind on this page. Okay, I gotta change that. I ended up bringing Knock because I laddered like a little bit before my game, and it was just like Reuniclus wasn't solving the G King issue because they like if I'm CM, they can just like infinitely pivot on me and I don't accomplish anything if CM doesn't win. So Knock like gives me something to actually hit G King with, and this like is still like a good mon into Fat. I think Reuniclus is kind of cool, but I don't know. This is literally just the team I had played with like some set editing. I made this dragon. I made Olamola Reuniclus, but like right before the game, there was like someone on ladder that I like kept losing to. That I like just thought like, oh, this matchup is not doable. They had like Zamazenta plus G King, which was really painful, plus Palt plus Zama, which meant like Drill is just never cleaning. Prim is really difficult for me to switch into. They had Prim, so it's just I was just like, I don't like this team that much, but I don't think I'm gonna run into something that nightmarish to where like every single mon is an problem matchup. So like whatever, this is fine. Little did I know that the person I was playing on ladder beforehand was my SPL opponent. Oh, and this okay. So this reminds me, I haven't done proper insight on the opponent this week. This is Hoenn confirmed. He went like 10-1 or some shit in SCL. He had a really good SCL. He's known for lower tiers, but being a main of tiers is fake. If you're good at one tier, you're good at other tiers. So this guy, I knew this guy was good. But I just didn't really know what he was going to bring, and I was fucking lazy, so I didn't get a team out. And I like ran into the nightmare matchup on ladder. If I could be bothered, I could find the Discord. I literally took this guy's team like 10 minutes before we played and like titled it like broken skillless nonsense. And so I was like able to post my opponent's team into my team chat so they could like speculate speculate properly knowing the sets. But like, I don't know, knowing the sets did not help me that much. This is like really disastrous. Usually Drill only has to get through like one or two usually only has to get through like one mon really to where before it's kind of an issue in Sand, because it's just like really strong and really fast. Give me un momento. Yeah, there we go. Okay. But Lando plus Zama plus Gambit is just too many stopgaps for Drill, so it's not going to be able to do much. My Palt like looks good. I mean, Palt always looks good, but it's just gonna like, I think this game is just gonna come down to a Palt speed tie, because Prim is not gonna last forever. I know, like heading into this game, because I know my opponent's team, he doesn't have removal and he's not like mono boots. I think only Zama and Palt were boots, so I know that I'm gonna be able to trade down for Prim, and I think I just lead Tar into Prim so I can like trade damage for it, because I don't care about Tar HP. And this being knocked AV is really good for Palt. And like you can tell on turn 3, I already have to make like really aggressive plays because I don't have a fucking water resist. But I don't know. None of this is like to justify like building poor teams, but this is just like tough. Sometimes you just like don't run into ideal matchup. I U-turn here because I'm an asshole. No one sucker punches. I don't know why. Yep, no idea why. Kowtow was free. I guess Tar. Nope, doesn't make sense. Anyways, I spike here because I know they're not going to immediately taunt. And then I can go Reuniclus on Lando because it doesn't do a ton. And I get to knock here. When we played on ladder, I was CM, so they didn't know I was knock. So I got a free knock on King, which is really nice. They missed T-Wave, which like gives me a chance. Psychic Noise does not block regen, by the way. They go Pult, which I think they... Now that they didn't pair me, they can't kill me with Hex, and I'm fine taking the trade if they want to just raw Hex. I'm like fine knocking Pult, because Pult... This game is going to come down to a Pult speed tie. And Prim ends up going down to Reuni. So Reuni did a lot this game. Shout out to Reuniclus. But yeah, here we go. Thought it may come to this. I don't feel the need to risk it immediately. Yeah, because they end up tearing too, because if I Draco'd, they're at full HP. They just live, and so I don't risk it. I don't care too much about T-Tar and Drill going down, because they're just, it's not going to get through. Zama plus Lando. T-Tar goes down. Dirge is able to torch this instead of wisping the Zama, because I know he's going to swap. From here, I play the game, like I Brave Bird here so I don't have to hit Draco and Palt. This goes down, and then I risk speed tie one time. He sacks it because he has no reason, or he sacks King because he has no reason to risk it. He keeps Iron Heading here. I don't know why. It doesn't really matter. If this Wisp misses, I win because it just dies to Brave Bird, but it doesn't miss. I can avoid risking speed tie one more time by just going Dirge here because Gambit is dead to hazards, and he's gonna have to just go Lando after. But I'm fine with Pult taking damage. Pult taking damage doesn't matter for the speed tie because Dragon Ghost Hex kills me anyways. I kill this and I lose the speed tie, and like yeah, I don't know. It was gonna come down to this from turn one. And I didn't get it. It is what it is. This ends up being Bootsama instead of ID, which makes sense on this team. I could have still, like, I played this to a position where if it was ID Zama, I was still fine, because I just like Terror Dragon the heal up, and then body press isn't doing enough, but it's not. There's also like some universes where he low rolls enough CCs to where I can slack enough, but I don't think that's real, and I think I would have had gotten insanely lucky anyways. So I don't know. I get crit here, but I don't think that mattered. I just needed the Wisp to miss or to win the speed tie, which like didn't happen. It is what it is. I have a very good team this week, and I tried my hardest, and sometimes it doesn't work out, and that's okay. Okay, back. Where was I? Okay, week 7 versus ACR1, I think also known as Enzo. He had played. So okay, a little context on ACR1 or Enzo. I'm sorry, I don't know. The Raiders season, which the team he was on was really bad, and I think their SV was just not doing very good. And this guy like subbed in and started winning. I'm pretty sure he was undefeated up to well, I won't spoil that, I guess, but he was undefeated up to this point. And he'd use like a mix of this offense looks really cool, by the way, but he'd use a mix of offense and like balance was still like Sin plus Curum plus guard, which is like a better progress maker than you would think. Like this guy mostly just used like strong shit. This is like an offense that's really good into other offense. He plays stall. This game was really bizarre. I don't know why Finch loaded stall either, but no, this is another highlight. That game is funny. Okay, so, but yeah, no, these are the games up to this point. He loaded like offense strong into other offense was like the key theme here. which is like the type of team I like. So I like it because it's strong and it's not easy to beat. So I didn't really know what the fuck to do. And this was another week where I like didn't have a ton of time. But I didn't want to go. I didn't want to go from 4-0 to 4-3. That felt like really bad. That would have felt really bad. So I did like give more of a shit, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I didn't give any less of a shit the last 2 weeks, and it didn't stop me from losing. But I don't know. I wanted to win this game, and once again, you always want to win the game, but sometimes you want to win the game more than other times. But what I ended up deciding to go with was Webs. I think the main reason for this is that his like later 2 teams, especially, these teams don't have removal and are just like not that what's the word I want to use? They're not super sturdy into offense. They're good into offense. These teams are very geared for playing other offense, but there's like this dickhead, which is like specifically good at sweeping. Like Garchomp is very good at sweeping offense because it's +1 with an SD. It's fast and everything and kills everything. And Terra Ghost lets you like turn the tables on Tusk, and it lets you turn the tables on D-Knight. So I thought Webs is cool because Webs enables you to use some breakers that don't really function with like without the additional speed and without the threat of like playing a bunch of boots mons. Because like, I guess, how do I want to explain Webs in this tier? Because Mono Boots is like very popular, and it's very good. I would even say that like Mono Boots bulky offense is probably the best archetype in this tier. So like what I guess like the question you asked with Webs at that point is why bother with Webs if like the best archetype and an archetype that your opponent has used a couple of times is like inherently strong into Webs, because you're gonna have to deal with like Boots Weavile, which doesn't take Webs and like kills this entire fucking team for breakfast. Like why would you bother using Webs? And I think the answer is like, I knew the chance that this guy loaded like an offbeat offense like this was not zero, and a team like this with like Roaring Moon is just inherently give me a sec, is not super good into, I apologize, this song is good. This team is like not good into Webs. Roaring Moon just becomes fucking useless, and Darkrai's probably Sash, and it probably also becomes useless. So I basic idea was something that is more balanced like this, more oriented towards facing kind of generic Glamora offenses, would struggle like specifically with this Garchomp, specifically with this Gambit that Punny had loaded previously, which is Terra Dark with no Iron Head. The obvious downside of the set is you don't hit fairies, but like the upside is that low kick lets you hit Gambit, which is pretty much like the only thing that stops Gambit on offense in some cases, because Gambit's good mon, dude. But I hadn't brought any Gambit up to this point, I don't think. Yeah, I hadn't. I mean, not like anyone's not preparing for Gambit, but anyway, I felt that this set specifically was pretty good. Like when you have when you have some Fallen and you have Terra Dark, and you have SD, Sucker Punch just starts dropping shit. Especially like Frailer Dark Resist, like a big appeal is Weave, for example. And also most Weaves are low kick to kill Gambit, but then you just turn into a Dark type and kill it with low kick, or you like Sucker, you 50-50 it with Sucker when you have Terra Darked, or just kill it if they just low kick you, which they usually should. Like if you Ice Shard a Gambit before Terra, you're insane. And you don't even win the interaction immediately if you do that. This is all just to say that, like, I was fine with the risk of Webs being useless because I knew the like potential upside of Gambit and Garchomp like functioning into Mono Boots bulky offense was like really high. And this is another mon that's just like, he had brought in 2 Gargs, yeah. I should also like say that this is like the most laddering time I had in a couple of weeks. And there's some users that I've figured out my suspect, or not my SBL laddering account, and did not like this team. Did not like me for using this team because it has some excellent yellow magic from stuns 4 and glare, plus sub on half the team, so you can just fish for paras, and like parad mons in webs are usually slower than hat. Usually, I say usually because this mon, even with webs and para, is like slow as shit. So I didn't even bring hat on this team because I wanted to like take advantage of webs. I wanted, well, okay, there's one like big boon from webs is that you outpace Gambit after webs, which is really big for Hatred, because Gambit is one of Hatred's most problematic matchups. But like the general idea of this team was that if you play like generic offense that doesn't have a good way of removing or stopping B from setting up, you should just steamroll them because of webs. But if they're like a bulky offense, it should be very difficult for them to handle this breaking core. Serp is a really interesting mon in this tier because without Terra, grass is like a pretty, like I'd say just either inconsistent or just outright bad stab. Like if you think of like Corv, it's just not gonna, like this set can't break Corv. But you know what it does do is like paralyze Corv. And I think its para targets to like that extent, like breaking a Corviknight or a Skarm after it's been parried by Serp is so much easier than breaking it without para. And that was the general idea of this team, is just to have like very strong speed control plus very strong breakers, and be like makes the offense matchup so good that you don't need to like worry as much about it. You can just kind of focus on having like a really strong breaking core. Goldingo is kind of just a necessity to stop fog, because defog's only really on Corv, but if you like get greedy and just don't have good as gold to block Corv, then web sucks. The Goldingo is necessary, and web, like there's not like a penalty to running Goldingo. Goldingo is very good. This hat set's good, funny because you sub. There's like two main uses of sub. Sub lets you avoid poison from G-King after Terror, or after, I believe it's +2 or +3. I know at +2 it's a roll to break sub. But anyway, point being, it lets you sub on G-King, it lets you sub on Garg, and it lets you bait Gambit suckers when they're slower than you after webs. Which is, I think this set is really good. I think sub is a really good hat set, and more people should run it. And more people should run Hatred. It's a really good mod. But, okay, enough rambling. I'll get into the game. Preview is not great. So I did end up running into like exactly what I'm like hoping to, which is bulky offense, like heavy in boots and heavy in revenge killers, with like Dirge and D-Knight. I think truly, if you don't like, if you still think hyper offense is the best style in this tier, you haven't played enough of this shit. This shit is really, really hard to beat. But like, I want to clarify. This matchup looks fine. Webs are useless, so I have like a useless mon on lead with B, which is fine. That I knew that was gonna be a possibility. But so this Gambit is like on paper walled by fairies, right? Like it only has it doesn't have Iron Head, it has low kick. So all of its moves are resisted by fairy types. It has Lumberry, it doesn't even get to boost its Dark Stab. Like, how does this mon touch fairy types, bro? What was it? I think like 3. Like it starts consistently KOing, like KOing at 2 fallen. And Moonblast doesn't do. Oh, I still have screens on. Oops. It doesn't do a ton back to you. So there's like a very real chance that Clef can fucking this Gambit with no steal move can fucking brute force Clef. And so this Gambit looks amazing. Lumberry means that it's either going to be able to beat Zapdos or it's going to be able to stop Dirge Wisp and kill it. which is amazing. This Gambit set looks very good with any Clef crippling. The main concern here is that I get tossed on my neck by Dragonite, but I think there's like a few preventatives to that. First off, if anything Terra's on it, it's fine, because Gambit that's no longer weak to EQ should never lose the interaction. Garchomp that's immune to E-Speed can just Scale Shot it and to KO it because Scale Shot does a significant amount of damage even with multi-scale. I should say that it's dice, so it's going to hit a minimum of 4. Scale Shot's going to hit a minimum of 4 times, so a minimum of 3 Scale Shot hits are going to be doing full damage against D-Knight. And also, they can't, revenge... If Garchomp already has an SD, and they're in a position where they need D-Knight to revenge kill it, the game is already over. Because they E-Speed into Terra Ghost, and then I Scale Shot twice and win the game. So, this matchup looks fine. Dirge is going to be a bit annoying because it makes Hatchrin useless. Hat doesn't have any real chance of finessing Dirge. Torch Song plus Hex just does too much with Unaware, and Stored Power doesn't do enough in return. I will be able to force Dirge to get paired with Serp probably, but it doesn't matter. I'm pulling up the calc now, but Dirge is Unaware ignores your effective special attack boost. So even though Stored Power itself gets boosted, this is like 100 BP Stored Power. It's just not strong enough to take advantage of it. They're just too bulky. They're usually relatively less SPDF invested, but it just doesn't matter. This isn't enough damage. And after Torch, at +1, Hex just is doing too much, and you can't CM on it. It's just over. Even if you Terra Water into it, Hex is still just doing too much, and you're just not doing enough. Another annoying thing about this matchup is usually the ideas that Serp pairs something for the rest of the team to be better off. Zap denies that. Zap in this tier is not at all common. It just doesn't match up very well into a lot of the good mons like Gliscor and Weave and I don't know, other Pokemon, I'm sure. Anyways, Zap is not very common, so that's kind of annoying because I don't think Serp can be able to be as effective as it could have been. But so I lead B because you always lead B. I have no incentive to not lead B. I tried to pair a Clef because pairing Clef would have been amazing for Gambit. I webs because I want Clef to take... So the rest of the team is probably not affected by webs. The rest of the team is probably Boots. But Clef is probably Magic Guard, which means it is affected by webs. Even if it doesn't take damage from other hazards, it's still affected by them, if that makes sense. And it being slower than Hat and being slower than Gambit is important. So I still wanted webs. The idea there is I stun Spore it, and then I can web, and if it gets parried on either turn, then I get a free Moonblast. And if it's parried, it's a lot easier to beat down with Gambit or Garchomp. But that doesn't end up happening. It's kind of annoying, but it doesn't matter. So, okay. Here I make a bad play. He has no reason to keep Clef in. If Clef stays and he dies, or he just loses, he immediately loses to Gambit and Garchomp. Even without knowing the set, he should know that Garchomp would just win if Clef dies. If Clef dies, he's fucked. And he should know that. I don't know why I make it rain. I should have just MP'd and then Shadow Balled this twice. But now I have to settle for chipping it, which he doesn't even allow me to do, which is smart. I should be able to focus this for 70, which I'm not able to. It goes left. It's just kind of irritating because in theory he could have rocked in my Serp's face, but he doesn't do that, which I think was fine. But here again, most Zapdos spreads are not bulky enough to consistently live to Leaf Storm from that range. He was either just a spread with a little bit of SPDF, or I just got bad rolls. So this thus far just hasn't been going my way. I've missed I missed both of my 70% accurate moves, which, I can't complain about. But this just looks bad because I've traded down 2 Mons for very little advantage. I get kind of bailed by a Kane dodge, but I don't feel that bad about it because I couldn't hit my 70%. But so I get to Glare Dirge, which is really good. This was like a very lucky break, I guess. It makes this game playable again. I just trade down Serp because I need 3 dead for Gambit to be able to threaten that Clef Calc consistently. I get a few paras, so it has to waste a slack. It doesn't really matter. Here, I know that he's not risking Dirge. I just have to start making calls because I'm too behind at this point. If I kowtow as he goes Tinglu, I just lose. He's just gonna rock or just get damage on Hat or just Ruinate or EQ. It doesn't matter what he does. I lose for sure. And Hat is probably not gonna be able to break through Dirge. It has a good chance of breaking through everything else, but I also have to keep in mind that after Hat Terras, it's gonna get revenge killed by Meow Terra, or Meow just Terras into a grass type and for sure kills me with Flower Trick. So Hat is not at all a realistic win path. I just need to go for the play, and I ended up SDing on the swap. And he went Tinglu because if I'm Iron Head, I don't kill this, and he just chips me, and then I'm fine. Or he's fine. But luckily I'm low kick. He goes Meow. I think we don't end up learning because this is a fucking King Gambit and turns the Meowscarada to dust. I don't think that was even a roll. I think it was very far away from a roll. Yeah, this shit just gets turned to dust. But it was probably low kick. Having to blow Terra on this and not Garchomp is kind of frustrating because Garchomp with Ghost has still a very good chance of winning because it can set up on Clef or live a Moonblast from Clef and deny Dragonite. But I think I just had to play around this low kick. I don't think you ever go Meowscarada there if it's not low kick. And it's revealed not Choice Trick because it didn't take webs. From here, I just expect to trade down for D-Knight. He's really fucking fat. Detail. I don't know how bulky it has to be to it's not even bulk. No, it has to be bulky to take only 86. I guess it was probably just max HP, right? Yeah. Okay, anyways, so instead of 1v1ing the D-Knight because Gambit has enough raw bulk to do it, now the game's a little precarious because it's Dragon Tail, and I did not anticipate that. And Hat gets called in immediately, which is annoying. What did I do here? Oh no, okay. Garchomp gets called in, and I didn't want to let in Clef for free, so I go Hat. And Gambit is not set up anymore, and he knows the set, so it doesn't threaten Clef, so I have to double to Hat. And I was hoping there that he just tried to knock or something and gave me a free sub. But it doesn't happen. And so this turn, I get a little greedy. That I assume he's either going to slack, so he's sufficiently out of stored power range at +2, or he's going to Hex. Or just raw Hex, because if he's parried, just raw Torch Songing is not going to be enough if he gets parried once or twice. So you can't risk it at this point, because he's not healthy enough. But, whatever ended up clicking, didn't matter. If he clicked Torch Song there, this would have been harder. I still think Garchomp had a pretty good chance of winning, because this takes damage, and now it's an EQ range, and now Garchomp literally kills the other 2 Mons on its own. He's going to Terra Dirge, if that wasn't obvious, but it shouldn't matter, basically. because it's sub chomp, so it should be able to get burnt by Dirge. And if I get like enough paras, I should just win. This was this was unnecessary to let Garchomp take this damage. I should have just dekissed. I had no reason to I had no reason to first risk him just going for this, and I had no reason to call Dirge double, because if he goes Dirge as I kiss, I just spam CM in his face and pray for paras. And if I get enough paras, I win the interaction and I win the game. But if I don't get enough paras, it's low enough to where it dies the Chomper Gambit. So this was inaccurate, and I think that hard Gambit on the Dirge Parrot turn was also kind of inaccurate, but I think, as aforementioned, I would have been fine. Garchomp should have won anyways, because you also have to picture that if I didn't do this, because Gambit was alive, I was forced in position to kind of make this call where I went Chomp, but I would not have had to do that if a Gambit had just died, and I could have just gone full Chomp. Now I don't get as many sub chances, like aka as many chances to fish for para, which makes this a little awkward, but I think I was fine. Is basically what I'm trying to get at. I think after that Zap Hurricane miss, I was like in a pretty good spot, and I made the correct play on Dirge to Tinglu and SD'd on the swap, and I killed the Meowscarada with Gambit. So I think this position was won. After like that sequence in the middle, I played it a little unoptimally for sure. But I think this just happens. And if Garchomp was at full, he was just gonna get rolled eventually. There's just like no chance that he doesn't get like parried 20 times in a row. But yeah, I ended up winning this game. I was kind of happy with this one. I think my early game was poor, but I think once I got out of the early game, I played fine for the most part. And this team is a lot of fun. I'm happy it worked. I wasn't as confident in this team as some others, but it worked out, and I'm happy. Okay, so 2 more weeks. You're stuck with me for 2 more weeks. And then I'm done. But so week 8, my opponent, this is once again another name I'm not gonna be able to pronounce. Luis Pico, Luis Pico. I don't know. I'm just gonna say Luis. I'm sorry. I don't know how to say your name. He'd only played 1 week prior to this, but the team he's on, the Tyrants, had like a ton, like a really deep SV, and like the majority of the teams were being built by CTC, which, if you don't know, is a very old player, very old man, who's been playing for a long time. That's all I have to say about that. But he plays a lot of this tier. He's good at building this tier. That's all I'll concede. Moving on. But CTC feeds this slot. Like, whoever is an SV is probably being fed by CTC. So I'm not like prepping against this guy. I'm prepping against CTC. And up to this point, Tyrants had liked a lot of this is like more, it's like that, this kind of like bulky offense, heavy in boots kind of shit that I'm talking about. Like, here we go. Like more kind of bulkier offense. More bulky offense. Like, this is the thing is that I knew this was coming. I knew something like bulky offense oriented was coming, but like as mentioned earlier, there's not like a super good way to punish it, because these are just good mons, and the entire point is that it wants to make the matchup as even as possible, so you can just like have an actual game and have to actually play, which is boring. So like heading into the game, knowing I'm probably gonna play some type of BO, bulky offense, I wanted to load this guy. I wanted to load Volcanion as like far back as playing Kumiko, but I just couldn't. Like, like after that week, I didn't have a ton of time to put together a team, and I just couldn't think of anything where Volcanion fit. But like week 8, like finally having a chance to like sit down and like put together something that doesn't suck. I got to use my boy Volcanion. This set was like, this is not my invention. I don't know who made this. Fire Spin is like budget Magma Storm. This move is generally not very good, I guess, but Volcanion got taunt this gen, so it on paper beats a bunch of defensive mons if you can fire spin them on the swap, because like Clef, for example, can't CM in your face or can't heal. Slowking Galar can't chilly reception out. So the general idea is that you want to trade Volcanion for a key defensive piece, and also that Volcanion has Water Absorb, which makes it kind of uniquely situated to like get in on Dondozo and Alola Lamola, which generally don't run moves that aren't water type, and even if they do, it doesn't do enough damage to Volcanion where it's like discouraged from coming in on them. I think the traditional version of the set is Terra Ghost instead of Terra Steel, because the original reason that people wanted to use this set is because it like beats Stall instantly on paper, because if you turn into a ghost type on Blissey as you just trapped it with Fire Spin, it can't touch you with Seismic Toss, and now you just taunt it, and now they just lost their Blissey. And since they just lost their Blissey, they just lost their switch into Steam Eruption. And they can't even like pivot around Steam Eruption because something just gets Fire Spin and then died. This set's very cool. I like this set a lot. And I liked it even to like, but so the rationale behind Steel was that this set was very good. It like still has like a ton of entry points into bulky offense, even if it's not like running into a Alola Mola every game. Because having immunity is just good. But like Terra Ghost outside of trapping Blissey is pretty useless. Volcanion is not quick enough to like take advantage of Dragonite. And nothing else besides Blissey is like uniquely situated to get trapped by Terra Ghost. So I ended up making it Terra Steel throughout testing, because Slowking Galar, like this set for example, doesn't usually pack away to hit steel types, because there's no reason for you to, because you can just chilly reception out on steel types. There's no reason for you to like attempt to flame them usually. Slowking Galar wants like a lot of moves in this tier, and it does have flame. Like it has access to flame, but it's just not very common because it doesn't have any reason to run it. Like the steel types in this tier are pretty passive, like Skarm, like except for Goldango. Like it's good for Goldango, I guess, but they're generally pretty passive, or they just don't do enough damage. Like Goldango Shadow Ball doesn't even do a ton of G-King. So you can just like chilly on them is the general idea. But Volcanion obviously denies that. I mean, if you Terra Steel on G-King, you can kill it. And then, like, look at this team example. Like, look at how this team deals with Volcanion after Slowking Galar goes down. It doesn't. Palt, like, takes 1 or 2 Steam Eruptions and then is gone. And the rest of the team just fucking explodes. It gets in on Corv and Garg forced heals. It gets on him Ogerpon. This is the other nice thing about Steel. Ogerpon is like uniquely situated to be walled by a Water Absorb mon with Steel typing, which doesn't exist. Like these two moves don't touch Volcanion, and then Play Rough also doesn't touch a Steel type Volcanion. So I don't know. Steel type Volcanion is good. I think it's better than Ghost. I think this set is already really good in the stall. Like if you think about like it taunting Blissey as it attempts to heal in your face, you don't need to Terra to do that. You can just taunt it, and then like if it's at 50% now, just go into like Lando or Clef, for example, and now the Blissey's forced out. It hasn't been able to heal. It just took Helmet Chip, and so the next time it comes in, it's just going to lose to Volcanion anyways. So I think Terra Ghost is really overkill. But moving on from Volcanion monologue, the rest of this team is kind of straightforward. Weavile Dragapult is a really good speed control core. Weavile like reprises its role as just beating offense instantly. Pult's a really good option. Like I don't know, Pult's the best mon in the tier. It's good every game. The speed tier is like indispensable because it's faster than Zama. The only like relevant thing, I mean, Deoxys speed is kind of relevant and it's quicker than Bolt, but outside of that, like the most relevant thing that you're gonna worry about with speed is other Dragapult, because Dragapult is really good. I like this Lando. I like this double Rocky Helmet idea because there's like a lot of attempts to brute force physical walls by just having a bunch of physical mons. Like the most common example is Roaring Moon plus Gambit. And that becomes a lot more difficult when you have to handle two very physically defensive mons, especially with Helmet, because you're just going to take a ton of damage in the process, and you're not going to be able to cleave through everything. So even if Weavile can't like revenge kill Gambit, for example, that's not something I'm very concerned about. So this was nice. The CM set was also good because Garg was picking up in notoriety again, and Garg is traditionally very difficult to stop if you don't have a Cloak or Magic Guard Mon. But here you go. You kind of need Calm Mind to beat Curse Garg consistently, which is a bit annoying, but Calm Mind in itself is not that bad, so whatever. Knockoff is also cool. Calm Mind Knockoff is cool because they have to go G-King, or they have to go like Blissey or Claude or something, for example, to like stop you from winning the game. Which, you know, it does, like, you probably will not win the game, but in like turn you will knock those very valuable defensive mons, which is cool. Clef is good. This is like fairly standard G-King. I opted to draw Future Sight because I think Future Sight in this metagame is really useless. Frankly, it's just like too slow to get them off and utilize it properly. Like, and you also, if they like realize your Future Sight, they can just start going hard Weave, and now you have to like switch around Weave. I just don't think it's very good, and I think other Slowking Galar is so popular that like forcing kills with it is very difficult. Anyways, I run Toxic Psyshock because Volcarona is broken, and if you're not Psyshock plus Toxic, then you can lose to Volcarona very easily. Even if you are this, Terra Steel is still a pain in the ass. I don't know, Volcarona is fucking broken. This is like the best I can do. So getting into the game, I like this team quite a bit. I felt confident in it. And I pull up into Hyper Offense, which is good. This is a good matchup. I didn't like lean into as heavily like anti-offense as I did earlier in the tier, because I felt people were kind of realizing that like very straightforward hyper offense doesn't work that well. In this tier, there's just like there's a lot of defensive options. People like to complain about how many offensive options are in this tier, but there's like a lot of very, very good defensive options. And so I think HO matchups just like very much too often just run into brick walls. So I think other people realize that as well. So there's like less of it, but anyways, I ended up running into HO, which is fine. This was totally fine. Lando is like a very good option to have into hyper offense. Weave is very good. This is where like Clef really shows its boon of like alleviating Lando from having to check Roaring Moon and Samurott Hisui. I can just go Clef instead. So yeah, this matchup looks good. Volcanion isn't super useful, sadly, but it is going to like force Goldengo to either trade down with me or switch out a few times, which is nice. I don't know, this matchup looks fine. Like, fine to good. Valiant is a bit of concern depending on the set, because if it knocks Slowking Galar, it's going to be very difficult, because I kind of need that thing. But, I don't know, this looks fine. And I'm fine leading Lando, because it, 1, denies Glim, and 2, I run max speed on all my Lando, so I'm always quicker than other Lando. Some people don't like doing that because they think slow U-turn is good, but I think it's better to deny rocks and get your own rocks always. I think that's way more valuable. I think getting rocks in front of the faces of other Landos is insanely valuable, because they're always just going to try to taunt you, which I believe is what happens. Yeah, so they go Lando. Or I guess we both go Lando. I just taunt it. It's max speed. Ignore that Dara and Tim went first. It may have been a speed tie, but yeah, don't worry about that. So Cecil's Edge misses. I don't think it really matters. Spike is literally useless into my team. Aqua Cutter damage would have been nice, but all I need Clef for this game is Helmet and like Scouting Valiant set. They end up offing, which I thought they would. Psyshock like actually does damage to Glim, which Future Sight, yeah, that's accurate. Future Sight would not have. I just go Volcanion to try to force Golden Goat trade. They hard Focus Blast and just kill the Volcanion, which is kind of like you can see at this. Okay, so yeah, no, this is like kind of a turning point in the game. Before I would have just traded down Golden Goat, and I think from there it would have been very straightforward. There's 2 utility mons which are useless into me, and Roaring Moon, which I'm going to be always able to stop with Lando and to Weavile afterwards, because I still have Terra intact, like in this alternate universe, and can Ice Shard it with Terra Ice Weave, and Valiant is like the only concern, which I'm not that worried about, because I have a Clef and a Volcanion toss to figure out what the set is. But he ends up tearing it, like making this a bit harder than it has or could have been. And I had a thought of eventually, of going Terra Clef or going Clef in Terra Watering, and then just Moonblasting it, so it was like dead to whatever after. But because I don't believe it killed. I'm pretty sure. Let me verify that. Yeah, it doesn't even come close. So I end up opting it's not a good play. And if I go Clef, I'm obviously terroring. And if they like Focus Blast on the Clef, which is a very valid play, then I just like lose the Clef and I lose my Terra and I lose the game. So I decided there's no reason to do that. The issue with G-King is that Psyshock doesn't KO either. And I definitely need G-King. I need G-King if they save Goldengo, which they should. And I need G-King for Valiant still. So I just take the hit once and then Psyshock them. If they Focus Blast me here, I can die. But I think Raw Shadow Ball was also a roll. If I'm not mistaken, it's like 47 to 53. It's like some really weird roll. Yeah. Oh wait, that's. But I think that's how math works, right? Yeah. So it was like there's a chance they just roll my G-King and it dies. So I need to swap here. And I just decided that at this point, Paul is the most useless member. Clef is now healthy, which is good. But I still, once again, I'm going to sack it into Valiant. I can go Weave now, and now it's in range of Axel. And here so they go Valiant, which to me projects that they're probably Moonblast. They're probably special. I don't know if they're mixed yet, but I guess I have no way of knowing that it's not physical. Like they could have just gone physical and attempt to go CC, but this early seems like pretty bad. For like the simple reason that if it's mono physical, doing this early just means that Lando will like shore up the issue I have with this thing, and I'm fine. So I'm pretty confident that they're special. So I first go this to Scout Moonblast, and then double into Clef to Scout Knocker. Or no, I don't. Oh yeah, because okay, never mind. I fucking lied. Because if this gets toxic, it gets forced out by Clef afterwards, and Weavile just wins. So that would have been fine. I go Clef on Lando because I don't want to get taunted for no reason. This just allows me back to King. I don't care about this getting in because I have this, and I still have a full Lando, which I haven't even had to risk yet. He crit drops me on the swap, which isn't game losing, but is annoying. He could have just focused there and killed me, I was pretty sure. But now I have to toss Lando HP, which, like, once again, if he had cuttered the Clef, it would have been, like, if he didn't miss the first Ceaseless, But he should have aqua-coated me anyways, because I don't give a shit about spikes. I don't know, anyway, I think this is all just to say that I was totally fine with Clef taking that damage. And Lando would not have had to take this damage if I didn't get crit dropped by Goldengo on swap. Lando gets rocks up, which now Valiant comes in again. Nox, I'm not entirely sure why. Slowking, I scout Debond and Toxic because even if he attacks me, I should live any 2 hits. And Weavile should just sweep from this position. As soon as Valiant takes enough damage from Toxic, I just go I just go Weave and I just spam triple axle, Terra Ice, triple axle. I was just trying to avoid Oz in this game as much as possible. So I played this in a way to where I could spam Ice Shard instead of going for Axel and Valiant. Because I believe I had to hit 3. If this was at full, I would have had to hit 3. And if Slowking died to Destiny Bond, then I would have had to hit 2 versus Goldengo, which I didn't want to do. I would have had to hit 3, I think, actually, because Lando would have intimed me. But I played this in a way to where that's not necessary. And yeah, I think... Oop. Okay, so I now realize it's been over 2 hours, but only 1 week, 1 week left. My last opponent was Old Spice Mike, and he had played throughout the entire tour, which was, I think, the first opponent that I had who had done that since like Kumiko in like the first couple weeks, where there wasn't that many weeks, but like most of these people subbed in. Or these 3 people subbed in, so I didn't have a ton to go off, but I had a lot to go off for Mike, and Mike was either 7-1 or 6-2 like me leading into this game. He's very good offense player. I mean, just very good player in general, but he had used a lot of offense this tour. And this is like bulky offense, but I knew this was like the type of stuff that I was scared of. This is like insanely dangerous. Because it doesn't have like the usual offense susceptibilities of difficult to get rid of rocks, and once rocks go, it's good. It's not like overly weak to Weavile. All these mons are more than capable of breaking physical cores, and Paul is on the offense is a nightmare because it's a nightmare on its own when it's only like the only mon breaking for bulky offense, but on offense you have to like, you're just going to be doing so much trading that endgame Paul is really irritating, or it's going to be able to status half your team on lead. So like this is another strong offense. The point I'm getting at here is that this guy knows ball, and I knew it was gonna be difficult to bring something that like both adequately covered what he brought, which was like a pretty decently wide variety of offense. The first 2 weeks he just abused Archelodon being broken. But he run like a lot of offense this tier, and like even when this tour, and even when he slowed down, it was pretty balls to the wall. And I played him in SCL, the SCL leading up to this, and I lost like largely due to my own incompetence. And he'd also offense me then, but so if I mean, you know, you're probably looking at the screen, and yes, I was anticipating offense, and I wanted to fish offense, and I had some very strong tools into it, like Sticky Bark Clef, which as you know is like it's like a weird contact item that only works specifically on Clef because Clef doesn't take damage from Barb. But what's like particularly good about it in this tier, as opposed to like previous gens, which I don't know, is pretty good in Gen 8, I guess. Anyways, so that doesn't matter. What matters is that booster mons inherently don't have an item, and there's some other relevant cases like Unburden, whatever the fuck it's called. Unburdened Lucha inherently doesn't have an item. So it also in Roaring Moon. And Roaring Moon is relevant because it loses acro power when you give it the barb because it gets an item. So anyway, it's like a pretty strong offense tool, and this is like my favorite clef set because it checks Garg, and it's very good into balance and like slower stuff. Which like I think the main issue with running something fat like this, from like a building approach perspective, is that you already inherently have kind of a good offense matchup, but it's like difficult to break other balance. It's kind of unreliable because you yourself are only relying on like 1 or 2 breaking tools. Like in this case, it's Paul. But I like shoring that up with like stuff like this, like Calm Mind Clef, that is just inherently very strong into fatter stuff, or like at the very least helps with like knock. And Skarm, I think should have been Core of Night. I think this game would have been a lot better if this was Core of Night. But as I'll get to later, I also was using SD Gliss. And Knock, Clef, and SD Gliss function a lot better with spikes up, because since they start knocking boots, you don't really abuse that with just like rocks up. So I wanted Skarm because it sets spikes. In Core, if I didn't have Core, or if I had Corv, I wouldn't have any hazards because it would have been difficult to fit rocks on this set, because otherwise I'm just too weak to Garg. This is once again the standard G King set. Not much to say. Dirge, another strong anti-offense tool. Has like a decent breaking capability on its own. The issue with this mon always is that like it cannot get knocked. It cannot get statused, or it just becomes like significantly worse. So you kind of have to like have the rest of the team absorb status and knock for it, which is like much easier said than done in this tier. But I think this team does like a decent job of supplementing that. This is SD Gliss. I want SD Gliss because it's a good progress maker. And it's kind of difficult to like stop. Like even after it gets like a +2, it's just kind of hard to like properly revenge kill, especially when you factor in Terra like finessing shit that it shouldn't. But this is another slot I'm kind of like swapped up. I don't like Gliss that much. Like I don't like SD Gliss that much because it's like really slow into offense matchup. And I think as you'll see in this game that kind of ended up biting me in the ass. But I don't know, it made sense for the team, and I don't think it's like so useless into offense to where like I wanted to drop it completely. And it was good. It was like useful in games, and I think SD Gliss is good. Like it's worth the risk, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. But if you want to change it to like defensive, that's probably fine, because this team doesn't super need more like ability to break down balance with this clef set. This clef set's already really good in the balance with spikes. Or you could like make Gliss spikes or rocks and then make Skarm, Corv, and I think this team is a lot better. But I don't know, this was like St. Patty's weekend and I was not around. But anyways, this is like standard Paul. I think Paul is like kind of mandatory on balance right now, because Ogerpon is broken, and this is like the only good mon that checks Ogerpon. I mean, it doesn't, like, people don't complain about it that much because, oh no, I have to run Dragapult because Dragapult's the best mon in the tier, and that's not like a concession. But it is fucking annoying. I think this like would have been better as like a Weavile. But I think as long as Waterpon's in this tier, this is kind of like a mandatory slot for balance. Which, you know, it isn't great, but what are you going to do? So I don't know. I thought this team was strong, and I still think it's strong. I think like with adjustments like this being Corv and this being Spikes, probably Spikes U-turn, the team would be very good. But I didn't make those adjustments in time. And this is a bit slower than into offense than I would have liked it to have been. But let's watch the game. So, look in this preview. This is like annoying, but not terrible. First off, if SD Gliss can Terra and get +2, it looks pretty good. Because it will be able to kill Weave, which is not like massive, but it's good. It doesn't stop Freeze Dry from Cure Him, which is a bit annoying, but it does like stop a Blitz once from gouging. Like, I don't know, this Gliss looks fine. Palt looks good because it's Dragon Ball. Cure Him is a bit concerning, especially if it's DD. There just isn't like a ton of sufficient counterplay to DD, but if it's like sub or specs, I'm not that concerned about it because sub or specs just doesn't like consistently break through G King plus Dirge, so it's not a huge concern. Hat's not a concern because I have Dirge. Weave's not a huge concern because I have Clef plus Skarm. Gouging Fire, if it's the breaking set, it's just walled by Dirge, and if it's the booster set, I will just trade down for Clef. So this looks fine. This matchup looks fine. If you know the result of the game, it was not. I end up losing this game. I don't think it was the fault of the matchup. I think this team was fine. I think the Bring was fine. I didn't play it very well, and we'll get into that. I lead Palt into Goldango. I scout Scarf because I feel like if you lead it, it's probably Scarf. But he just spams S-Ball. He reveals that he's not Scarf. So I don't know why he didn't. I guess trying to catch Dirge on the MP. But so anyway, okay. So brief pause. This is a massive issue. This mon like kills my entire team, or like the only mon that doesn't die is Dirge, which doesn't come in and doesn't even like really properly win if I Terra it. And like blowing Terra this early is not good, and I'm not going to be able to get into a position where I can't Terra it. So this is a huge issue. What I should have done. So I think up to here this is fine. I think what I've done up to this point is fine. I think knock was acceptable, even if it like left him out of hex range instead of EQ, because I needed to know item. If it was Scarf knocking, it would have been really good. But so what I should do is once Protect goes down, I should Terra Water on the Make It Rain, because Make It Rain just fucking kills me, because Golden goes really strong. I'm max F Gliscor, but it doesn't matter. Max F Gliscor has a good chance to die from full. I should have just Terra'd here and killed it with EQ, because I'm Terra Water, I just live, I kill it, I don't take that much damage in return. Or like, okay, so after P-Heal and like after another tech, this mon is literally still healthy, and I don't need Terra that much. Dirge wants to stay its normal typing, and like G-King doesn't mind being this. It makes gouging like a potentially a little dangerous, but it shouldn't. Gouging should never get that out of hand. Like, as after mentioned, like if it's DD breaking, it's never getting through Dirge, and if it's booster, then it's just gonna like trade down with Clef, which is totally acceptable. Because Clef doesn't do much this game, except for trade down with gouging. So I just end up letting Gliscor die for nothing, which is bad. And now I have to go Dirge, and he has no reason to stay in and trade. He goes Lando. I decide damage on Lando is good. This is a little ambitious. I don't think this play was wrong, because if I just went hard Skarm as he taunted, I'm only B-press, so it's annoying. So I successfully double on Goldango instead of just B-pressing into it. But I know he's just going to Terra now, because he doesn't have much incentive to not Terra. I just go G-King and Sludge. He sacks Lando, which is probably his best play, because he doesn't, like, if you look at his team from here, he doesn't even, like, so first off, this Goldango should be dead, and I think I should just coast to, like, G-King plus Dirge being kind of unbreakable. So that's like the boon if I just Terra Watered and kill Goldango. Um, I just didn't spend enough time. Yeah, and I just misplayed, and I just let Gliscor die. But so this is where like the second throw comes, because gouging here is like heavily incentivized to flare blitz and just like collect a kill, because Dirge is not healthy enough to come in. And Palt is like really ambitious, because if I Palt as he DDs, I don't know if I lose, but it's not good. And he also wants to deny Clef from getting in for free, so he should just blitz here. So I still have Terra intact. This is still Terra Water. If I just Terra Water on this, I'd take like half and then regen it off, or I like regen back to 80. And then so if it's at 80, this actually like checks Goldango. But I don't Terra Raw, so I end up taking a fuckload. I get the Toxic off, which is good. And now, like as I've said, it just trades down with Clef. But now I have to do this. I have to sack Slowking. Or not sack Slowking, I have to sack Palt. He MPs, which is fine. He like doesn't get punished because I can't Draco him anymore. And then I hard G-King, because I know he's going to recover that turn. And then I have to sack Dirge, which like, this is lost, I should say. Like, as soon as I did not Terra G-King, this is lost. I have no way of winning this game. If this got parried on the... if this got poisoned on the first sludge, I maybe would have been fine. But I think at that point, I'm just not able to check Curum, probably. The Curum doesn't end up revealing its set, because I just lose here. But, and I don't get a second poison, which, like, once again, is fine. I did not deserve poison at that point. I Wisp it. This is all kind of like a effort and futility. He just healing wishes Goldango, which could have been dead. Could have been mine if I just teared Gliss. I think this game was just like me wanting to hold on to Terra too badly and like bad foresight, because I didn't want to blow Terra on Dirge too early, because if it ended up being DD Curum while he still had Terra intact, it would have been like pretty problematic to not be able to Terra Dirge. But I think I would have been fine. Well, I don't know. I don't know. I didn't ask after the series what the Palt was, or what the Curum was. If it was DD, I probably still lost, realistically, because even if it's like not sub DD, then he just like trades for the Dirge or the G-King with Terra Ground, and then like I status them, but then I die, and then he just goes hat later and just heals Curum, and I don't really prevent it from setting up, and it just like sweeps my shit. But I don't know. It could have very well been DD, but I don't know. I think either way, I didn't play this game very well. I think the prep was kind of unideal. Like, Skarm just being in this game meant I had to double like every single fucking time I wanted to use it against Lando or Goldango. Because if this was a Corv, I don't have to like give up half of my HP on Dirge immediately. I can just go Skarm and just U-turn out as he U-turns, which is fine. It's totally fine. Like, I take Talmud, but I don't really care. But instead it just ends up being like a very ugly position against Goldango, which I don't know, should be dead if I played this correctly. So I don't know, this is just like a lesson of not having enough foresight or patience. And sometimes it happens. I finished the tour 6-3, and sadly, as I highlighted earlier, the Wolfpack didn't end up making playoffs. Like, partially to me for sure. I lost during the critical week, but so that's the end of SV. I think SVOU for me in this tour. I think all in all, I'm fairly happy with my performance. Like 6-3, this is gonna sound like really condescending, but 6-3 is okay. I'm not unhappy about 6-3, but I think, and also like a 6-3 factoring in that like 2 of these losses were kind of unpreventable. But I mean, okay, unpreventable in a sense. They were unpreventable in game, but like, it's my fault I brought those teams. So I don't know. Like, I'm not unhappy about 6-3. I think it was like a decent performance, and I really like this tier. I think you look at like I have like 3 RU bonds over these teams. There's like a lot of mon variety. And like an abnormal amount of clef, but in Tusk. But those mons are good. I like this tier. I'm happy with my performance overall, even if it wasn't like a godly record. I'm happy with it. I feel my play has improved a lot since SCL, and I hope if you like watch this entire fucking thing that you got something out of it. I'm just gonna finish it off there. Hopefully this was entertaining or informative, and if it was not, too bad.